To have a full understanding of this season's Vexcalibur exotic quest, we first have to talk about Asher Mir. Asher still is, we'll get into that later, but he was a guardian like us, a warlock, and in Destiny 2, he was the destination vendor for Io. Asher was on Io studying the Vex and the Pyramidion. The Pyramidion is a Vex structure that exists on every one of the Vex machine worlds, and that's significant because they're all the same building. I don't mean they were built with the same blueprint, I don't mean they are an identical building, which, I mean, yeah, they're that too, but entering any one of them puts you in the same interior space. Whether you entered the one on Io or a Pyramidion on Venus, you'd be in the same place. Asher spent his time with the Pyramidion because it was discovered that this interior was a vast repository of information collected by the Vex, but on an exploration excursion with 2 hunters on his side, on the shores of a massive Radiolarian lake, the fire team was captured by Brachyon, Genesis Mind. Once captured, they were experimented on heavily, having Vex technology grafted onto their bodies, being injected with Radiolarian fluid. As described in the lore for the Silicon Neuroma sniper rifle, their attempts at escaping consistently ended in death. But eventually, after dying countless times, they made it out and back to the tower to recover, Asher now having one of his arms replaced with that of a Vex, and his ghost having been modified with a glowing red Vex eye. That's where we meet him, after he's recovered and taken up a position on Io, watching over the Pyramidion and continuing his research on the Vex. During the Destiny 2 vanilla strike called, you guessed it, the Pyramidion, we enter looking for the lake Asher had found, and while we didn't find it, we did find and defeat Brachyon, getting vengeance for Asher. But vengeance isn't everything, as Asher's Vex arm is slowly corrupting his body with no possible cures on the horizon. In Season of Arrivals, Asher discovers that the darkness is studying the Vex here on Io, and when ordered back to the tower before Io is taken, he refuses, promising to wait at the shores of the Radiolarian lake where his life changed, to defeat any agent of the darkness who dared attempt to take the Pyramidion. The lore book, Duress and Egress, has chapters describing the destination vendors for the planets that are about to be taken by the darkness during Season of Arrivals, talking about their last moments and the actions they take before that finale, and in the chapter Asher Conclusion, it describes him after we leave him, marching into the Pyramidion and destroying an army of Vex in his way, but as he got further in, the Vex defenses lessened. Lasers bent to avoid him, the Vex no longer attacked, they only observed him, and eventually he reached a pit below the lake, and as the lore book describes, the man reached up to the lake with his metal arm. He then reached with his arm of flesh. He reached with both, and he brought the lake down. And this line from the lore book is duplicated in the lore for the Vexcalibur exotic glaive. And through this we have proof that Asher did not die as Io was taken, but he was instead digitized into the Vex network. Which, yeah, we pretty much already knew because there have been a couple of hints over the 2 years since Arrivals. In the finale of Season of the Splicer, during the Vex attack on the last city, off on the sideline there was a friendly harpy, emitting beeps of Morse code that translated to Assistant, which is what Asher solely referred to us as. And in Neomuna, during our own excursions into the Vex network, we get these glimpses of Asher watching over us at various points throughout, and all of that culminating in this Vexcalibur exotic quest, Node.override.avalon. After reset in the EDZ, a Vex anomaly appeared in the sky above a cave. In that cave, we found our little harpy friend, and an entrance into the Vex network. Fighting our way through that network, we finally see what Asher was talking about. We find the Radiolarian lake that Asher spoke of years ago, and we enter a very, very familiar arena. We find a Vex network version of that original Pyramidion boss arena, and here we also find our old enemy, reconstructed, Brachyon, repurposed mind. After once again putting Brachyon to rest, we get rewarded. Just like the Arthurian legend with the arm holding Excalibur out of the lake, we end this mission with Asher Mir, his one Vex arm, the fabled Radiolarian lake, presenting us with Vexcalibur. All in all, dope exotic mission up there with Presage and Seraph Shield, and it really exemplifies what I love about Destiny. Just a standalone mission, but one that is built upon a foundation of the lore and characters and plot that have been accruing in this universe for years, mixed in with just a tad of that Destiny goofiness we love. You know, the glaive's called Vexcalibur. I mean, come on. What's not to love? And with that, I am out of here. So please like, comment, and subscribe down below. See you next time.